Hey, good morning and welcome to Breakthrough Walls. I'm Ken Walls and I'm your host. And today I have this amazing woman named Toni Caruso on the show. And I just got to tell you, she is absolutely just an amazing lady. She's with the eWomen'sNetwork and so many other things. I'm not going to go into her whole story. She's going to share that with us. But if you would do me a favor and share this stream out to everybody that you know, let's get 10 million people on here watching right now. Stay with us. I'll be right back, and we'll be bringing the one and only Toni Caruso on. Here we go. We're back. Let's bring Toni on the show. Toni,
Hey,
welcome to Breakthrough Walls.
I am so excited to be here. This is going to be fun.
I'm so excited to have you here. So, I met you, I guess it's been a couple of years ago, I believe. And you are look, Joe Ingram, that's a lofty goal. Dude, hey, you got to shoot for the stars, man.
Yeah.
Um, so we met a couple years ago, and there's Sonia, love Sonia,
Yay,
and
Sonia.
and then we just reconnected not too long ago. And the crazy part is, you live about 7 minutes from me, I believe, maybe 8.
It depends on how fast you drive. So I think it's
Right?
about 12 miles. We cruised
Yeah.
by your house the other day, as a matter of fact.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
So it's crazy. So we reconnected. You asked me to speak at one of your events. That was a fabulous event, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. But we're going to get into all of that. So let's start with you
Uh-oh.
telling everybody where Toni is from. Where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised Mercy Hospital, Sacramento, California, the capital of California.
Where
Yay.
really?
Yeah.
Sacramento?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Joe's out in California too. So is that where you spent your entire childhood?
Yep. Lived in the same house for 25 years.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. Wow.
yeah, I went to Billy Mitchell Elementary School, Star King Middle School, and El Camino High School, and then
Wow.
college there as well.
Where'd you go to college?
Cal State Sacramento.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
What was it like for you growing up out there? California's a little different today than it was back then, right?
Oh, yeah, and Sacramento was a small town. My
Yeah.
father worked for the local CBS station, and then he was a projectionist. So movies and television, I was grown up with it all my life. I mean, we were the first ones in the neighborhood that had our own black and white televisions in our bedroom because it was all about TV and movies. So it was a really cool upbringing. But neighborhood. You left the house at 8 in the morning playing in the neighborhood, and the parents would call you in when it got dark, you know.
Yeah.
Parents didn't even know where we were. We were all over the place on our bicycles. It was a great, I must say, absolutely perfect upbringing. I have no complaints.
And I mean, let's just be honest, California is beautiful. It's a beautiful,
Yes.
beautiful state. Really
Well,
is.
and you were 90 minutes from skiing and 90 minutes from the ocean in San Francisco. I mean, there were days
Yeah.
that we would go skiing and then drive to San Francisco and have drinks and then come home. I mean, it
Wow.
was fun. I must say.
Yeah.
I
And
I really enjoyed Sacramento, but I was glad to get out when I got out
yeah.
and move down south.
And back to the childhood going out, and I saw a video on TikTok or somewhere the other day, like back when we were kids, like our parents forgot we even existed. They had to put out television commercials say, "Hey, where are your kids? Do you know what time it is?" You
Exactly.
remember those?
Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
we were gone and outside socializing, riding bikes, getting physical. Um, it was fun
Yeah.
playing tag and playing dodgeball, which you can't even play nowadays in California because someone might get hurt. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's a little different. Definitely different. So you went to college out there. What'd you study in college?
Okay, this is a funny story. So, well, it starts as a tragic story. My father passed away in a car
Mm,
accident. He fell asleep at the wheel, and he died 2 weeks before my 16th birthday. So my mother took off, and she was like, she went to Australia, New Zealand. She traveled around the United States. She did not want to be anywhere near that house. So my older brother and sister, who were 20 and 21, moved back in the house to take care of me, which, I was
okay.
on my own. Um, so I got the GI Bill because my father was in the military. So I
Oh,
had to go straight into college and wasn't even planning on it. Hadn't even taken any SATs, anything. So I went to American River Junior College, and my mother thought that all girls should either be an airline stewardess or secretary. So
you're
I
not
went.
allowed to say stewardess anymore either,
Oh,
but
well, this is at those days. Those days. A
that's
hostess,
what they
airline
were. They
hostess.
still are, but
Yeah.
anyway.
Anyway, so I went to school and she said, um, take home ec. So I started doing home ec in junior college, and that lasted a semester because it was boring. I didn't
Yeah.
was not interested. And then she said, you should be an interior decorator. So then I tried interior design, and I can't draw to save my life. And at the time, there weren't any CAT programs or computer programs, so you had to
Yeah.
dry it all out. And my perception was the couch was perfect. And my teacher would say, Toni, that couch is 10 feet long and 2 feet high. It wasn't right for me. So then
Yeah.
I changed and went into sales and merchandising. So I got a degree as a fashion merchandising. And I mean, then, things happened. I was supposed to get married. 6 weeks before the wedding, I met somebody else and called it off. I mean,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, crazy life.
Wow. That's rude.
It was. It was horrible. And my boyfriend, my fiance, had moved to Portland, Oregon to
Oh
start our
my
new
god.
life together, and I called and
Oh,
broke up with him over the phone. So, yeah. But what comes
Tony.
around goes around. The guy that I fell in love with and I broke off my wedding for, 2 years later broke my heart. So, it
Oh
all came
man.
around.
Yeah.
That's why
Isn't
I
it
moved to
funny
LA.
looking back though? Like you
Yeah.
look back at and you're like, geez, what if I could go back and talk to that young version of me? But so okay, well that's pretty interesting. So okay, talk about like at some point you started a career, I assume.
Well, my
Mhm.
mother loved to throw parties. So, I just learned very young how to entertain and to do events. And I had a summer birthday. My birthday's July 30th, smack in the
Mine's
summer.
in July too.
Well, when's yours?
17th.
Oh, you're a
Yeah.
Cancer.
Yeah.
I'm a Leo. So,
I know. I can tell.
nobody came to my birthday parties because it was midsummer. Everyone was on vacation. You
Mhm.
didn't have email, phone. You have to call on the phone. Are you home? No, we're going on
Yeah.
vacation. So I would have the same six people who would come to my backyard and swim in our above ground swimming pool. And then on July 30th, they'd come swimming and we'd have ice cream and cake. So my sister, who's an April 24th or something like that birthday, she'd have these huge parties, 60 kids, all these presents. So
Yeah.
I realized at a very young age that I had to promote my birthday. So I would promote my birthday and I'd make I'd roller skating, or there was themed birthdays and car rallies and all kinds of stuff. So I
Yeah.
started very early planning things, and that took me into high school where I planned all the school dances. Didn't go to a lot of them, but I organized them. And it was
Wow.
just one of those things that as I got into the corporate world, I did all the holiday parties, I did the conferences, and then I got certified as an event professional, and then
Really?
started doing it as a business. So I just kind of
And
fell
like an
into it.
event planner?
hmm
No
You can be a
kidding.
certified meeting planner.
I guess I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's
That's
Meeting Planners International. You get certified by them.
wow.
Yeah.
That's I would be certified to be insane because I despise planning events. I hate it. It's awful
Well, your next
to
event,
me.
just let me know. I'll take care of you.
I know. Yeah. You're on speed dial. So talk about how did that go? Were you still in California or
Yeah, I moved to
okay.
Southern California and lived all over Southern California because
Okay.
I don't like traffic. So anytime I'd get a new job, I'd move closer to the job so I didn't have to drive in traffic. But
Yeah.
what happened was I was single for a very long time. I didn't get married till I was 41. So
Wow.
when I got married, my husband, I always thought, I'm going to marry somebody who's got grown children. I'll be a great stepmom. But I marry a man who's never had children and wants to have them. So at 43, I became a stay at home mom.
Oh my god. So
And
you had a baby
yeah, I
at
had a
40
baby at 43.
43. Wow.
In went through the whole infertility, in vitro fertilization. I mean, he is a miracle child. He's 24
Wow.
now. He's amazing. Um,
Wow.
but did everything. I did everything late. Did everything backwards. But it all
Wow.
works out.
That's unbelievable. I do you know that Jill and I she didn't have Abigail until she was just 4 days before her 42nd birthday.
Oh yeah. See.
So, yeah, yeah, we're
And you become this
familiar with that.
old mom and you're sitting around with all these young moms and they want to go out and have mom's night out and let's go get drunk. It's like, I did that already. I want to be with my kid. So it
Right.
was a whole different world. And then you
Yeah,
tell stories about, you'd be in these moms clubs and you'd be sitting around with the babies in the middle and you're all talking and you start telling stories about when you were single and they start getting
right.
looks on their faces and you're like, ooh, can't tell that story. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right,
I've had
right,
more of a
and they're
life
all
than
like
they have.
they're like 25,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're like yeah. So
Yeah.
so, okay, between talk about because this is called breakthrough walls, as you already know. Um, and I have a lot of people call it breaking down walls. It's not, it's breakthrough walls. But talk about some of the challenges you had prior to getting married, prior to having I mean, you had this span of a career of being a meeting planner, right? Am I saying that right? It's
Right.
meeting planner, right?
Yeah.
Did you have any challenges along the way that you thought, man, there's no way I'm getting through this?
Well, you have to understand my mother thought being a secretary was the ideal job, and then you marry
Oh,
your boss. So,
oh,
or yeah, you have to marry the boss. Then you settle down.
that's so 1950s.
Yeah, well, I'm old and so is she. So, anyway, I didn't know. I had no plan. I was someone who just went, "Oh, that looks like fun. I'll go apply there." I always got into a job as the secretary or executive assistant. Then I
Yeah.
took on the planning and the meeting and everything. So I would say in my 20s, I lived in Southern California with a bunch of actors and I was a cocktail waitress, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And they said, "You know what? You should be an agent." Okay. So I got a job in an agency as a receptionist, and I learned the business, and I moved through and became the assistant in the commercial department at Abrams, Rubaloff and Lawrence, and met all kinds of great actors.
Yeah.
George Clooney, got me drunk on my 35th birthday. There's our stories like that
Mm.
because that was um, my life. But you couldn't tell
Yeah.
people. You'd go out and you'd meet guys, and you couldn't tell them that you worked in a talent agency because they all were actors and wanted an agent. So I'd always just have to lie to people for them to like to get to know me. So trying to struggle through
Wow.
this, making money and finding a life and a husband. I mean, it was tough, and
Yeah.
I had a lot of ups and downs with jobs and living paycheck to paycheck and wondering if I'm going to make it. But I always knew that I could survive. I would um, get to a point in a company, like I worked for Abrams, Ruvaloff, and Lawrence, and I decided I didn't want to be in that business anymore. I wanted
Right.
to move forward. I'd love to be an assistant to a movie star. So my boss had a lot of connections, and I told her I wanted to do that, and she's like, "Oh no, we can't lose you here. You're too important to this company. You can't leave." Well, that just tells me I'm not going anywhere in this company. So I left, and I ended up working for Tina Turner and went to
Oh,
work for her manager. Just kind of fell into it. And then working for Roger Davies, which was her personal manager, and this was during the private dancer tour. So I was the
wow.
liaison between the management and the tour company. So that was fun. It was exciting. And, went to her concert, saw my name up on a big screen because I was part of her
Wow.
team, you know, and then there was a job that was available in that company that I wanted, and they ended up hiring someone outside. Okay, done, move on. So it was like I was always trying and finding different things that I wanted to do and different opportunities, and I just jumped. There was no straight line journey. It just kind of went, and I had a really good time doing it.
Yeah.
And I had fun, and I had some amazing jobs, and I had some amazing bosses, and some not so amazing. But I had the skills of being a secretary that I could get into any business and start off. So the place
Yeah.
that I stayed the longest was the Rader Institute, which was an eating disorder program. I came in as the assistant to the entire in house ad agency. And within 3 years, I'd
Wow.
taken all of their jobs, buying their printing, buying their commercial time, producing their commercials, doing their meetings, doing their PR. So, you just um, you go in and go, okay, I can do that. And I'm one of those people. Now, I didn't
Yep.
get all five of their salaries, but, I'm a survivor and I had a really good work ethic. And I knew that, oh, I can do that. Give me a chance at it. And I would jump. Does that make
Yep.
sense?
Yes. It's awesome. I think that's incredible. And that's what makes you also a great entrepreneur is
Well,
just
if you,
being willing to jump in.
yeah, you got to take risks. If it's not
Yeah.
scary, you're not doing it right.
Right. No, I agree with you. So you that's incredible. I did not realize that you were a professional event planner. I'm still sitting here kind of like surprised that we haven't had that conversation, or maybe we did and I don't recall parts of it or something. But I know you had done meeting stuff. I just didn't know that that was like your full time gig for a long time. So, and Charlotte Frost, I love Charlotte. She's amazing. She's watching. So talk about where things started going because you're not in California anymore. You're right here in the great state of
Yep.
tornado. I mean Texas. And so talk about where things you're you're kind of frozen. Hold on. We've had some
Yeah, it's.
crazy weather here lately, and I think the internet is
Am I
not
okay
fully
now? Can you see
recovered.
me now?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
you're good. You're good. You're
Okay.
good. So talk about how things kind of worked out. I know you ended up meeting your husband, you said at 41.
One. Well, I met him at 39. We met
Okay.
through Great Expectations. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
That is that a dating
Mhm.
service from the
Yeah,
19
20s.
You said 20s. You're not that old. Come on.
Well,
So,
it was before, you know, Match.com and that thing.
it
So,
was there was no internet
no,
connecting.
no.
No, no. Okay.
So
So talk
you'd walk
about
into
that.
this library, and there were green binders on one side and pink binders on the other. The green binders were the men. So you go in and you'd grab a binder, and they were all alphabetical by first
Wow.
names. So it would have like a sheet that they filled out, which was their name, their age, no last name, um, their ethnicity, did they smoke, you know, and
Wow.
then it had questions like, what's a perfect date for you? What do you like doing in your spare time? And they'd write these paragraphs. Then on the other side was pictures of them. Well, nobody wanted to read first. You flipped the book over and you looked at the pictures. Well, some of the pictures were of Ferraris and big mansions and planes. Well, you knew they're probably
Nice.
older or probably not that attractive because they were selling you on what they had and not who they were. And then
Right.
you'd read. So you kind of flipped it back and forth. So when you found one that you liked, you'd write it on a little sheet of paper, and then you'd go in to the video library and pull out a VHS tape and stick it into the machine and fast forward it to 4 minutes and 32 seconds, right? And then you'd
Wow.
see the guy. So I did this the first time when I was 35, and I did it for 6 months only. And I got asked out the first month, 60 guys. Now, this is from age 21 to age 121. I mean, it was like, so I was going
Wow.
on dates all the time, and it was like a business. I had a first date outfit, a second date outfit, you know, it was all. And then by the end, I ended up dating a guy for 9 months. And my membership was over. And then after 9 months, I go, yeah, done. I'm 37 years old. I'm done with this. I've got a job. I got friends. Who needs a husband? Well, then I turned 38 and went, okay, maybe I need to go back. So I went
Yeah.
back thinking I'm going to get 60 men in a month, right?
Yeah.
No, there's something about the age of 35 as opposed to 38 that is not as attractive to men. So
Wow.
I was in for 6 months. I dated every comedian in Los Angeles. For
Oh my
some
God.
reason,
Did you
comedians loved me. And and it was like loser after loser after loser. And so I ended up
Well,
with
not all
my
comedians are
no,
losers.
I didn't say that, but they were. These were like, you know,
Oh,
it's maybe
the
because my video was funny and they thought, oh, she's going to laugh at my jokes, you know. So
oh,
it just didn't
yeah.
work. But then
Yeah.
it was like a week before my membership was over. My husband reached out and I looked at him. I went, okay, he's not so bad. I'll get one more
Oh
free
my
dinner. So
God.
I literally went out with him with the mindset of one more free dinner. Let's get this over with. I'm done with men. And I was an absolute bitch on that first date.
Oh my
Horrible. And he
gosh.
can tell you the story. I mean, we agree. I sat there and I go, so, been to this restaurant before? And he's like, yeah. Oh, so who am I? Am I an ex wife, an ex girlfriend? You know, I mean, who am I supposed to be tonight? Let me play. I mean, I was horrible, horrible. And I guess that was exciting for him. So he kept calling. And I
Wow.
kept going out and kept calling, kept calling. And a year and a
Wow.
half later, we were married.
What's his name?
Keith.
Keith.
Keith. He's a
Keith
good
needs an
man.
Al-Anon meeting. I think he might be codependent.
I just I needed someone because I was so independent at that time and so
Yeah.
headstrong. I need someone to say, "Hey, lady, shut up. Listen to me." And he did. He put up with it. And
Oh,
he's
man.
been my biggest
Bless his
supporter.
heart.
He's amazing. I love him.
That's awesome. I can't wait to meet him someday.
Yeah.
Soon, actually. I mean,
Yeah.
y'all are, like, right up the road.
You come on over.
So do you have a pool?
No. We have a we have a there's a country club. We live at a
Oh,
golf course over.
that's right.
So there
Okay,
are
I'll be
pools.
over later
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
So I'm kidding, but so talk about and this is all you're still in California at that point?
Yeah. Still in
Okay.
California.
Okay, so let's see, you were 41, you said, I
40,
believe?
yeah, 41 I got
40,
married.
okay.
43 had my son.
Yeah. So I mean, that was only a couple years ago. So what have you been doing since then?
Yeah, only a couple years ago. Seems like yesterday. He's
I should
24.
we even talk about that? Because like it's the most shocking thing. I am not kidding. It's so shocking that I still don't believe it, honestly. But
Well,
um, we
why
I
would a
don't
woman lie about their age? You know, I'm
I
67 years old. Okay, let's
that is
deal with it.
insane, Tony. That is insane. You do not even nowhere even remotely close to 67. It's
Well,
crazy,
thank you.
mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
So what happened in, I mean, from there? Where what as you went on through life, you had a child, you became a look, James, the 43 newborn. Oh my. Yes.
Yeah.
I was 42.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. He says, "How old are you?" He says, "No way." I know. I know. Like, I agree, dude. He said,
Good,
"Tony
good
isn't
genes.
67." Yes,
Yeah,
she
good
is. She
genes.
is.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so I became a stay-at-home mom because, we'd spent all this money to have this
Yeah.
son. I worked in Beverly Hills, but I lived in Oak Park, which is near Agoura, Ventura County. So driving
Okay.
to and from and doing events, I would be gone 12 hours a day. So I gave it up. Luckily, my husband was doing well, didn't have to worry about it. Um, I love Judy. Anyway, um, so you can't take a woman who's worked 43 years and stick her at home with a newborn and not knowing anyone. We had moved into a new home and didn't know anyone, so I became the that Uber mom. I was fundraising chair for the preschool. I was the jogathon
Of
chair.
course you were.
I did everything. I did fundraising for the school. I was
Yeah.
PTA president. I did the community big Sunday event every year. I mean, I worked harder until my husband said to me one day, you're spending all this money making money for all these other places. Could you make some money for us? And I
Mm.
went, and then my son got into middle school and he said, "Mom, will you please not do anything at school anymore?" And I'm like, "Why, Rock?" And he goes, "You're more popular than me." And I went,
Oh
"Okay."
my god.
So that's when
Wow.
I was an etiquette trainer. I decided kids had no etiquette, so I got certified as an etiquette trainer, and
Of
I was
course you
teaching
did.
etiquette to all the Girl Scouts up and down the California coast and had these classes till I realized, you know what? I don't really like other people's children. So that was a big, and joined eWomenNetwork in March of 2015, and 2 months later, the managing director stepped down. She was going through a horrible divorce, so she stepped down, and so there was nobody doing anything for a couple of months.
Still
Someone
in
gave
California.
still in California, still
Okay.
gave corporate my name and said, "Hey, listen, she's an event planner. She could take this over." So I thought, "Oh, what's the heck? Have a luncheon every month." Um, so I became the managing director in October of 2015, and my entire network was children 5 to 13. So I had to learn how to network. I had to go out and meet people, and I had to sell this eWomen that I didn't even know anything about. And I grew this
Wow.
chapter in Calabasas to about 120 members in 3 years. And I realized in meeting all these coaches, authors, everything, everyone was doing events, but they didn't know how to.
Right.
So in 2016, I started Caruso Signature Events. So that was my company. And I
Wow.
built that. And it got to be that it was like huge. And
Yeah.
I had to step down from the managing director position because I couldn't do both. And my biggest year was coming. March of 2020 happened and everything died. I was supposed to have a $20,000 20,000 person event at the LA Convention Center, and we had to close it down a week before the world closed down because all our speakers couldn't get flights from France and South Africa and all these places. They couldn't
Wow.
come to the United States, so we shut it all down. And then I literally sat on the couch and felt sorry for myself for the next 6 months because all my clients are going, so do you think we'll be back in a month? Should we schedule it in August? Sure, we're not going to be sitting around, So and then everyone was
Yeah.
going virtual, and
Yeah.
it was a shit show. I'm sorry,
I mean, it
but
was,
it
in all
was
fairness, it was 2 weeks to flatten the curve.
right. Yeah, yeah. And in California, that curve is still flat. So
Yeah,
anyway,
it's still not flat. They're working on it. I think they'll
yeah.
get there someday.
So
Wow.
I was watching eWomen had a online event in 2020, and I think it was like November, and it was their Success Reimagined, and they had a coaching program that they were selling for $9,999. Now I hadn't even made $10,000 that year because my
Yeah.
business collapsed, but I knew that I needed help. I knew I needed somebody, and Sandra Yancey, the CEO, has always been there for me. And I thought, you know what? I hit the button and I bought it. Best thing I ever did. Because included in that was a one on one with Sandra on
Wow.
Zoom for 45
Yeah.
minutes. And she goes, so what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I've got these Women Talk Biz. I've got Caruso Signature Events. I got my Academy for Speakers. And she goes, you're all over the place. What do you love doing? I said, I love teaching people the business of speaking. And so she literally, in 45 minutes, laid out a coaching program for me, the acronym, everything, how I was going to sell it. And 3 months later, I tripled my money and my coaching program was off. So
So
then I'm
incredible.
still like doing everything through Zoom, and I hate Zoom.
Yeah.
And so my husband and I traveled to Texas to buy some rental property in Frisco and
Yeah.
Stonebriar. We went driving around, and because realtors don't really work on Sundays here in Texas, it's God's day. So on
And
Sunday we were here.
Mondays for fishing.
Yeah, oh, Mondays for fishing. Okay, good to know. That's
Yeah.
new. And so
Yeah.
my husband and I drove up. He always wanted 40 acres in the middle of nowhere. So as we're driving up Preston Road, I'm like, there are cows over there. There are steers here. We have gone too far. And so we took a right at the next intersection and we saw model homes in the middle of
Oh,
nowhere and went and looked at them. And my husband said, well, how much is this 2,600 square foot house? And she told us, and he looks at me and he goes, we should just buy a house. So that started it.
wow.
Within like 3 weeks, we had purchased a home. We were downsizing from 1,700 or 1,800 square feet in California to 3,900 square feet in Texas because that's what you do
Down
in
you said
Texas. Yeah,
downsizing.
yeah. So we have this beautiful home out in the country. I mean, we're in a
Yeah.
community which gave
Yeah.
me neighbors and everything, but it's lovely. And
Yeah.
we were going to live in both places. I was going to fly to Texas, get my event business going, get get my network started, and
Yeah.
then he was going to still work and go back and forth. Well, each time we'd come out here, we didn't want to go back. So we'd come look at the house, get things.
Yeah.
We didn't want to go back. And the real estate market in California was just like going like this and going up and up and up and up. And I said, we can't miss this. So we
Yeah.
ended up selling our home for a very high amount in
Yeah.
California
Yeah.
and moved to Texas
Good for
and haven't
you.
regretted a minute of it.
No. The weather's a little different here,
Yeah, yeah.
a little
And
bit.
as my husband, my,
Um,
my husband misses the mountains.
I'm sure the mountains are beautiful. California is just beautiful. I just anyway, we won't go there. But we could go there, but I'm not going there.
We're not gonna.
Um, I mean, you lived it. I couldn't imagine. I just like what. So there's my wife watching, and she's right. Texas is especially up here where you are. We are. it's just different. That like my daughter, I'll never forget seeing it. My daughter looking. We're with her, and she's talking um to some other adults, and she's saying, "Yes, ma'am. No, sir." I'm like, "Who are you? What? Like, what the heck?" That's the way kids are, though. They're really respectful here. They're not. I mean, there's some,
Yeah.
some that aren't, but the majority people are just really, really nice here.
Yeah,
I mean,
I had to learn patience because you go into the you go into the grocery store and I just remember this little grocery store in Van Alstyne. I had some salsa and I was just running in to get some salsa and standing in line and the lady is at the cashier and she's like, "So, how's Joe? Is he doing okay and the kids are all right? You know, they're having these whole," and I'm like, "I just want to buy this salsa." And I have had to slow down and go, "It's people take time here. There's no rush
yeah,
here, you know? It's
yeah,
just a whole different feeling. They open the
completely.
doors for you, you know?
Mm,
And I
yeah.
had come from an area where I remember in 2020, my husband ran an aerospace company. So he was still working through COVID. So he was gone from 11 o'clock to like 10 o'clock at night every day. I was home alone. So it was a beautiful day, 85 degrees, walking in the neighborhood, and people would drive by in their cars and point at me and go, "Mask." I'm like, "I'm outside all by myself taking a walk."
What?
Oh, yeah.
In
I
California, you mean?
yeah.
Oh
And then
my
I remember going
lord.
into Target one time and my mask came down under my nose and over the loudspeaker, "Lady in the red jacket, pull your mask up." I mean, just
Are you
it was terrible.
serious?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
See, I would not.
I felt like I was in prison, so it was like I had to get out. My husband knew that and God bless him for understanding that.
Good for you, him and you, for both of y'all. So talk about you. So you get here to Texas, the great state of Texas. Um and
Did we freeze?
I think the internet does not like us today.
Oh, well,
Um there were, right across the street from where I am, it completely wiped out a neighborhood, the
you
tornado.
know.
So I think they're doing a lot of work around here. But um so when you Eric says Tennessee is better. Tennessee is beautiful as well. It's not
Yeah.
better than Texas, but it's beautiful. So when you got here, and I mean you started were you doing the eWomen's and that was it? I mean, what all were you
No,
doing
so
here?
when I came here when the house was being built, and part of
Okay.
my mastermind with Sandra was I got a video introduction for my coaching program. So I went into
Oh,
the corporate office and we videotaped that. And Kim Yancey, her husband, afterwards sat me down and said, "How busy do you want to be when you come to Texas?" I go, "Well, I'm not retiring. I want to be busy." And they
right.
said, "We have this speaker network that needs some lovin', needs a cheerleader. Is that something you'd be interested in?" I said, "Let's
Mm,
talk." Well, it took about a year. Once I moved here, I started doing networking. I did an
yeah.
event here. I did my back
Yeah.
to school for speakers here, and Sandra spoke. And we started talking, and the chapter here needed some loving. So they asked me if I would take it over. So I took over the chapter. That was not my goal. That was something I was doing as a favor to them. And then that helped me network. And then I signed a contract with them to take my Academy for Speakers under the eWomen Speakers Network. So
Okay.
I now run the eWomen Speakers Network, and
Wow.
our goal is to get more female speakers on bigger stages. I mean, we love
Yeah.
you men, but we're kind of tired of listening to you tell us what to do. So,
You should stop saying that. See how I just told you what to do. No, I listen, there are some like Charlotte Frost. She's an amazing speaker. And I think you heard her speak, as a matter of
yes,
fact.
Yes.
I think that Charlotte says amen. Charlotte, you should stop that. She would tell me to shut up. But like, Charlotte is a great example, of a woman that definitely, needs some of that direction and guidance. And I'm trying to help her with that too. And but so what is ultimately, because I think that there are a lot of people who want to be speakers, but how do I say this? Maybe they probably shouldn't
Right.
really want it that bad. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That feels icky to say that. How do you? Because there are people I've seen speak that I'm like, I'm not sure how
Yep.
much training it would take to get you there, but how do you navigate that when you're trying to tell somebody like, don't be a speaker?
Well, usually the people that are in my program, they're pretty good speakers.
Yeah,
They want to, and they're coachable, which is great. Um, but like you said, not everybody is a great speaker, but it
right.
takes practice, and
Yeah,
it takes the understanding. What I hear all the time is, "I want to get paid to speak." No, that's the wrong mindset. You know, the 1% of the 1% get paid to speak. If you are
that's
someone
right.
going to be talking to an association or an organization, yes, or a corporation, they have money in their budget to pay you. But
Yeah,
as an entrepreneur, if you want to start speaking on stages, you need to pay yourself. And there's ways
amen.
to do that. And that's what we teach. We teach about, it's not about you. It has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the message that you're trying to share.
Yeah,
And it's all about that one person in the audience that needs to hear your story. And that's what we focus on is your story, your message, and to making sure that it's in alignment with the
yeah.
audience that you are speaking in front of.
I also think that the flip side of that is there are, I'll use my wife as an example, who ironically used to work for Kim and Yancey, and why did I just draw a blank on her name? Kim's
Sandra?
Sandra, geez, so sorry. And I saw her speak. She's amazing. So my wife worked for them many, many, many years ago. And my wife was global VP of marketing. She's brilliant, and she should be a speaker. She should be out talking to people about what she knows. And I no matter how hard I push, it's like, so I've just surrendered, and I know that one of these days Toni Caruso is going to get a hold of her and say, get in here. But and she's a fabulous speaker, she really is. So but how do you get the people who how do I put this, the women who don't really want to speak but they should? Like,
Well, what you do is you start talking to them about, what is your mission? Who do you want to help? Who do you want to serve? You get them to understand that the importance of what their message is and what they have to share is more important than you being on a stage. So the
yeah,
possibility of putting them on a panel and asking questions, that's a great way to start. Is
yeah,
to and to get them to do podcasting, because it's an interview. Like, we didn't no research in this at all. You just said, "Hey, I'm going to ask you about your life." I'm the only one
that's
that
it.
knows my life. You ask me a
That's right.
question, I'm going to answer it. So there's
Yeah,
no prep to be done.
yeah,
So to get them into those situations where they're comfortable talking, and then build them up. And to be honest, it used to be before COVID,
yeah,
everybody wanted to speak to groups of 500 or more. Well,
yeah,
now, a group of 50, you can make a lot more money speaking in front of a group of 50 than some people make in a room of 200. Smaller
yeah,
rooms are more um, intimate,
yeah,
and they get to know you better, and they'll spend the money, and it's just a better feeling. Workshops are great. So what I always say is, you just got to start. You're going to make
yeah,
mistakes, but make your mistakes in the smaller rooms and on the podcast that nobody sees, and you learn as you
yeah.
go.
Yeah. A lot of people are gonna see your mistakes in this one, by the way, so
It's
Be
all Ken's
careful which
fault. It's all
podcasts.
Ken's fault.
So I think, I think, well, I don't think, I know you're right, because I teach the same thing. Like, if you want to get practice, and the people that think I should be paid to speak, because I don't have a course, or I don't have, like, make one. If you're good enough, people are going to buy it. Like, make one. It's so easy to do. And so, I just think that people need to. Zig Ziglar gave over 1,000 speeches for free before he ever
Right,
got paid for one.
right,
And people need to realize that. I mean, I've done 560 episodes, I think, on ish on this podcast, and people are like, "Why haven't you monetized it?" And I'm like, "I have." People call me all the time because they heard me on my podcast, or they heard me interview Toni, or, I mean, so I have monetized it through just building relationships and not expecting anything in return. So I really think you're right. People need to start it, and we'll say women, since that's what you do. They need to really get out there and do this right here, what we're
well, and
doing.
I think it's really interesting. I must say that you got me into doing live, and I don't do a lot of it, and I'm trying to do more. But the other
Good.
day, I went to a networking event at 12 Cowboy Drive by the Cowboys, the
Stadium,
Star.
or the
And
Star.
I
Yeah.
show up and I get there early because, 5 minutes early is late.
Yep.
So I'm there, and as these people are coming in, they're all, I don't know, 27, 30, 31, and they're
Yeah.
dressed in tight little dresses, and the guys are all, and I'm all of a sudden look around and go, I think I'm in a singles networking group, right?
Oh
So
no.
everybody is like they're all dressed up, and it's just so funny. And I just felt like I was a chaperone, and I was grandma was in the room, and so I left. Well, it was just something on my mind. So I get on my phone as I'm driving 70 miles an hour on the freeway in Texas, and I start sharing my story. And I tell you, and it was just a Facebook Live. I had more people that I talked to the next day. I had a meeting the next day. People are coming in going, "Oh my God, that was so funny. I had to pull over to the side of the road and I listened to it twice." So many more people were watching it than I even thought.
Yep.
And that was just something little and stupid I did, and it was 2 minutes long. So get
Yeah.
on your phone and do those live and start
Yep.
talking. Like right now, we just came through this horrible storm. There are roofs
Horrible.
that are off of houses. All my insurance people need to be on their Instagram lives and their Facebook
Yep.
lives and be talking about what you need to have to be ready for a storm, what you need to be doing right now, who do you call. This is the
Yep.
time that you get out there and
Yep.
get your expertise in front of them. It's a great opportunity, and people aren't taking advantage of it because they feel like, well, what if I say something wrong? Well, to be honest, wrong is even better. Inauthentic is wrong. But when you make a mistake, people love it when you make a mistake. It makes you
Yeah.
real and they can relate to you. So, I just say just do it. Jump off the cliff and figure out the
I
parachute on the way down.
totally agree with that, by the way. Like, I totally agree. Look, there's Tim Gillette, and he says so true. I think that you're, first off, you're spot on. Like, you heard me say that, though. That's why you said it, because you took that from me. So let's just be real. I'm kidding.
Okay, yeah.
No, but
Kudos
like,
to
it
Ken.
doesn't. Listen, it doesn't matter what business you're in. It does not matter.
No.
If the all of the algorithms love live streaming,
Mhm.
and you never know who's watching either.
Right.
I'm telling you, one day I was live one night, and I had the city scene behind me. That, if you didn't know, that's not North Texas. And that's a green screen. So, but
No.
and Grant Cardone is in the comments, and he's like, "Hey man, you really got this thing dialed in." And I'm like, "Wow, thanks, dude." And then it was, I don't know, a month later that I had him on a live stream after Undercover Billionaire. You never know who's watching you live.
Right.
And the fact is, if you're not using this medium to grow your business, you're not doing it right.
Right.
There, I said it. I said what I said.
Well, they think that, oh, I have a website. Well, that's nice. You know, people don't fall in love with your website. They fall in love with you. And
Come on.
especially women. Women want to know who they're going to be working with. They want to know, like, and trust them. We all hear that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
women, especially, I mean, my my husband used to laugh. I'd go in to the bathroom at a movie theater and I'd come out and go, you know what? We got to hit Macy's on the way out of here. And he's like, why? And I go, there's a pair of shoes this lady just bought. They are so cute. They're on sale right now. 40% off. We need to go. And
Oh
he's like,
my,
who are you talking to in the bathroom? Men don't talk to people in the bathroom. Well,
no.
that's where all the negotiation is happening. And I always say when you're going to be at an event, go early, stay late, stay for lunch,
Yes.
be in the bar. That's where all the business is being done. It's not being
Yeah.
done in the room. It's being done
Oh,
everywhere else,
that's right.
especially with women.
I mean, I I mean, I think it's with everybody, but okay, we'll go with the women thing. But I do believe that it's with everybody. I think people, and now I don't go into the restroom looking at men's shoes and go, dude, where in the world did you get those Nikes? That is really something. I'm
Especially in
afraid I
Texas.
get
That's
my
not going to go
ass
over really
kicked.
well.
Like, I come out with a shiner. What happened? I was admiring some dude's shoes in the bathroom and he didn't appreciate it. I don't know. But
Oh,
yeah, but men do talk on golf courses and so I think though that you're 1,000% right. People let me ask you this because I cannot believe we're running out of time. Let me ask you this. This being breakthrough walls, you've done a lot of stuff. You've started businesses, you've done a lot of stuff. Um excuse me. What do you think, cuz I've been broken homeless and I've been wealthy, and wealthy's way better. I'm just
totally.
saying,
Yeah.
right? So what do you think stops people from having it all, from having all the money, the financial abundance, the real joy and happiness, like being free from all the crap that makes people unhappy? What do you think is stopping people? Don't say fear. Not allowed to say
No, no,
fear.
I don't think it's fair. I think a lot of it is your body wants to keep you in a safe place. Your mind tells you no because it wants you to stay safe. And they're they're comfortable there. They're in their comfort zone. And getting out of their comfort zone, it's not fear, it's just being uncomfortable. And it's the stories you tell yourself. Oh, no one's going to listen to me. I'm not good at enough. I don't deserve it enough. It's those stories you're telling yourself. So if you start saying, what if? What if it works out? What if I hear women all the time, "Oh, I'm afraid to do that because what if everybody calls me up and they want to work with me and I don't have enough time?" What if? That would be amazing. Then you hire people because you're making the money. You can hire
Right.
people to figure it out. I mean,
Yeah.
it's always that what if. And I think it's stories we tell ourselves. That's why we always say when you're going to start a business, don't tell your mother, don't tell your sister, your brother, whatever, because they're going to say, "Who are you to do that?" You
Yeah.
know, tell your entrepreneurial friend. She's going to be the one that says, "Oh my God, great idea. Let me help you do that." That's what
Yeah.
eWomen's all about. It's supporting women and giving them the opportunities to achieve those goals that in their
Yeah.
mind they want to, but they feel as though I'm not good enough, I can't.
I again totally agree with you. I think again, and Tim Gillette said it. They get into a and it's an invisible comfort
Right.
zone, right? Like they don't even realize that there's Jackson, don't you?
I
I
love
love
Jason
that
Jackson
dude.
Chris. He's a
He's
good guy.
awesome. Yeah. So, but they get into that invisible comfort zone and they're afraid to get out of it. They're afraid to go do the thing. But I've said this before, you might be, 55 years old and you've always loved knitting sweaters, or I don't know, I'm just
Right.
throwing something out. But if you love that thing, you're only going to live once, that
Right.
I'm aware of. And like, why would you pursue a life that you are, marginally surviving in, when you could do what you love? And what if it turned into something? What if you started live streaming how you knit, or how you do the thing that you love doing? I mean, there's just so much opportunity in this world. And
Right.
honestly, Tony, I think there's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur than right now.
Oh, absolutely agree with you on that one.
it's
I
it's it's
mean,
crazy.
who wants to work for a corporation? I've been asked to come in and be a part of different corporations. Like, I don't want to have to get up at 7 in the morning. My husband, perfect example. We moved to Texas. He thought he'd get a job in the aerospace industry. He's an old
Yeah,
white guy. They're not going to hire him.
yeah,
And so I said, honey, you can fix anything. You can build anything. Start your own handyman company. So he starts it, and I mean, he was nervous. He's on every Sunday. I have no jobs this week. What? I go, it'll happen. And so in the meantime, he's built up this handyman company, doing well. And they call and ask him to be a consultant at an aerospace company for 3 months. My goodness, he's like, oh my God, I got to get up in the morning. I got to drive. It's a totally different switch because he would have loved it a
yeah,
year ago. And now it's like, oh, I have to be somewhere. Now, he can't wait till next week when this job is over again. And the handyman people are calling him going, hey, when are you coming back? We need you.
right.
And then he can set his own schedule, do his own
Yeah,
thing, golf on the days he wants to golf. But when you've been in the corporate world all your life and to
yeah,
switch to being an entrepreneur, that's difficult. But if you just don't um, try it and understand that it's on you.
yeah,
It's all you. You're all by yourself in your office trying to figure it out. That's when you need to go out and network, and you need to find the people who are going to help you and support you and be there for you so that you can call them and go, "Hey, listen, can you look at my website right now? What do you think of this? What do you think of that?" Or,
yeah,
"Hey, I was thinking about doing a program or a coaching program. I was going to call it Stage, and that was my acronym. What do you think of that?" You have to have people as an
yeah.
entrepreneur in your world, in your community, that support you. That'll keep you going.
And what do you think? Because you landed in Texas, didn't know anybody really. I landed in Texas. I knew a few people, but I mean, you gotta start building that network. And so what you're having these events, the women events, right? And
Right,
they're I get your emails um, a lot of them. I'm kidding. But no, I'm not kidding. It's a lot. You send a lot of emails, and I love that because you're putting yourself out there, and I love that. But like, I would encourage any woman watching, um, go to go to, if you're here local, or if you're not here local, go to these events that Tony's putting on. And Sandra Yancey, I'm meeting her and listening to her speak was like, wow.
right,
And there's just some amazing people that you have in your network, and everybody should be like taking advantage of that. It's
right.
crazy.
And it's eWomenNetwork.com, and we have
Yeah.
chapters all over the United States and Canada. And we actually have Sandra coming on June 13th to speak at my event here in Dallas. So if you're
Wow.
in the area, please check it out.
So
.com.
eWomenNetwork.com.
Yep.
Oops, hold on. I'm gonna scroll that across the bottom here. So women, it's for women only. Yes.
No, we have men.
Oh,
We call them our emails, and we have several men in our chapter. Love them,
wow.
but
Wow.
they're men who
Yeah, that's
understand the way women network.
yeah.
So
Yeah. It's a
They understand
fabulous
relationships.
it's a fabulous organization. You
Thank you.
guys are, and Tony, you're a force to be reckoned with. I mean, you're not you really are. And I didn't really get to know you that well, but I do now. I know you a lot better, and I just love you. I think you're amazing. So
Thank you.
um thank you for inviting me in. For even the brief moment I was there was incredible. And so, any final words you would like to leave the audience with today?
All I say is if something's making you uncomfortable in your stomach and you're like, ooh, but it's that good uncomfortable, it's that scary uncomfortable, lean into it and just do it. You just never know what's going to come out the other side.
That is true. Or it could just be gas. I'm just
I said that and I thought, whoa, that didn't come out right. Please
oh
don't take
my,
that wrong.
that is hilarious. So for anybody watching, the website address is scrolling across the bottom. If you're listening on the podcast networks, it's www.eWomenNetwork.com. Go there and check out, especially if you're in the DFW area, check it out. Go to one of the events. They're absolutely incredible. Especially Tony's events. I can't speak for the other events. But I'll tell you this, I know you're right where you're supposed to be. I can tell that.
Oh,
So
thank you.
I think it's pretty amazing what you're doing. So everybody, and follow Toni all over social media. She's everywhere. And now she's finally live streaming. So I love it. I'm so proud of you. I'm like,
I I
you're
learn. You got to
doing it.
keep learning.
I love it. I love it. So everybody, make sure you're following Toni. Go to eWomenNetwork.com. And Toni Caruso, thank you so much for coming on today and investing your time and sharing your story with everyone.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for asking me.
I'm grateful that you're here. So everybody, make sure you follow Toni and go to eWomenNetwork.com, and we will see you later. Have an awesome day.